Testing. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone? All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, everybody. How many of you were here at the last session? All right. That's more than half. Thank you all for coming back. How many of you got something at the last session? Okay. Got a couple of hands up there. Got one way up high. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. And how you doing, my sister? Miss Colette, how you doing? Years and years and years and years ago. Well, again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor, and anybody remember what we talked about in the first session? The Bible Way to Health. The Bibleway. Wow. Let's do this. Father God, we thank you for another opportunity to come before your people. I thank the shepherd of this flock, who is unlike most shepherds in this city, willing to let someone come before his people with information that will help them live a higher quality of life. By setting the precedent himself, he and his family have become even vegetarian, even vegans, to show that you're going to live the Bible way. So now we just pray that you touch their ears, touch my lips, that what comes from here is your spirit doused on it to make it work, Father. And we thank you in advance for safety, for a higher quality of life, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. So we talked about the Bible way. Just real quick, like a little overview. The B stood for what? Best food and combinations. What was the best food and combination? Okay. Fruits, nuts, grains, and then after that, after sin, what was added? Vegetables, okay? And that was a good diet because Noah lived to be 950, Methuselah was 969, and I think Adam lived to be 930, so they lived almost 1,000 on that diet. So the I stood for intake of plenty of water. Where did we find that? In Ezekiel 4:11. How much water did we find in Ezekiel that we should drink? A minimum of what? 8 glasses. We found that in Ezekiel, did we not? We found it in Ezekiel. But we realized that there's a formula. What's the formula? Half your body weight in ounces of water every day. Because if you're larger, then you need more water because there's more of you that needs to be hydrated. The B was for being temperate, and that simply meant we didn't want to do the things that caused the body to be in anguish, okay, alcohol and cigarettes and drugs and so forth. Even we found that some drugs that were prescribed become problems too. But the bottom line is we don't want to talk too much. We don't want to work too much. We don't want to overplay. We don't want to eat too much. We just don't want to do things in excess. The next letter was an L that stood for lots of rest and sleep. We looked at something, and we found that the Bible told us basically what are the best hours of sleep? Between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. Why? Because the moon has a gravitational pull that does what? Puts us in a deep sleep. We're not talking horoscope. We're talking Bible. God said, I put 2 lights in the sky. The larger light to do what? Rule by day, and the lesser light by night. The lesser light is the moon, and that it pushes the tide in. Plants grow. Pain goes away at night when we're in that good, deep sleep. But we want to get to where we can go to a quick sleep, a deep sleep, and a long sleep. Because that allows the body to do what? Recuperate, restore, refresh itself. And so we want to start working on that. We found out that one way to do that was exercise. What was the best form of exercise? What kind? Good brisk walking, absolutely, absolutely. That causes your pressure to go down, the sugar level to go down, the waistline to go in, the energy level to go up. Everything happens better. You digest food, you remove food. Everything happens better when you get some walking in. And we say about an hour a day, 45 minutes to an hour, 5-6 times a week, and the body will love you for it. The next letter was a what? A W. W stood for wonderful sunshine. All the things that the sun does, what was the most wonderful thing that it does? Vitamin D. It gave us vitamin D. I thought vitamin D came from milk. Well, it does, but it's what? Vitamin D enriched. Okay. The sun shines on our skin, changes that oil beneath the skin into an oil, a lighter oil. Okay, it's called calciferol, and it driven into the liver, stored there, and it mixes with calcium when needed to build strong bones, strong nails, strong hair, strong skin, okay? The next letter was what? An A. A stood for what? Air, fresh and clean. The most important gift that God gave to man was what? Oxygen. He breathed into his nostrils a Coca-Cola, and he became a living soul. The breath of life. You all are well studied and trained. I like it. I like it. That's my dear beloved brother, Pastor Orr. That's good stuff, good stuff. So, bottom line, we need that air. Oxygen cocktails, you breathe in through the nostrils and you count to what? 10. You breathe out through your mouth and you count to what? 5. And that builds, I like this thing here because it gives my chest some sound, you know. But that's what you want to do. You want those shoulders to become erect, okay? And your body's getting all them deep inspirations of oxygen, so all of your body organs need that oxygen, okay? Because that oxygen is carried through the what? The blood. And Leviticus 17:11 tells that the life of the flesh is in the what? The blood. So if the blood is flowing good, you've got good body, a good health. But if it's not flowing good, that's not such good health. Then that last letter was Y, and it stood for yield to God's will always. Changing your lifestyle. We jump on a diet fad. We jump on and off. We got all these different diets and diet books and diet proteins, and we got closets full of stuff. But you can't jump on and jump off. It's called a decided change, because health is not a chance. It's a what? Choice. Never forget that. Health is not a chance. It's a choice. So today, I want to talk about something. We're going to talk about the secret weapon used by the deadliest hitmen. That sounds like CIA, doesn't it? CSI. That sounds like some good stuff. Well, it is. The secret weapon. We're going to look for a weapon that's used by the hitmen. The hitmen are diseases, okay? They're health diseases, health destroyers. But they all use the same weapon, believe it or not. They all use the same weapon. So again, people say, well, Dr. Franco, they asked me this for years and years and years. I've been doing this for 45 years. And they asked me, why do you wear chef hats and chef caps and so forth? And why do you walk into the pulpit with a gallon of water? And because somebody told me that a picture was worth a what? 1,000 words. So you wonder, well, what's the chef hat all about? Well, sin, sickness, disease, and death, even Christ's coming and living, dying, resurrecting, all took place because of a piece of fruit. Is that right? If I'm wrong, stop me, because I don't want to ever say anything that's not right, but I want you to think. Bad eating caused all of our problems, all of our woes. Sin, sickness, disease, and death came as an aftermath of bad eating. So that's a principle. If you eat something that you know you're not supposed to eat, or that you know is not good for you, you can't get upset when you get sick. Am I making sense? Because that's called unassisted suicide. All right, we're not going to harp on that. We're going to look at this now. So we're going to look at our first slide, the secret weapon used by the world's deadliest hitmen. Let's get started. Let's see what we've got. Conquering the number one killer. Anybody know what the number one killer is? Heart disease. It could be coronary artery disease, hypertension, high blood, whatever. All those things that happen in your heart and your arteries and your veins, okay? The number one killer, that what you see there on the screen is heard every day. Most of you remember, during the day, almost every day, somebody had a heart attack. Somebody had an aneurysm. Somebody had a stroke. Or their pressure is just so high that they're about to pass out. Y'all hear it all the time. And so that's the number one killer. Okay, let's look at something. The percentage of cardiovascular deaths by location. If you look there, it says in Africa, 10 to 20% of the people, y'all all write this down, 10 to 20% of the people that die of any disease basically are dying because of what? Cardiovascular deaths. And by the way, the system has a new name for it now. They call it cardiovascular accidents. It's an accident. That makes you feel good. It keeps you from thinking that you did anything wrong or that you didn't do something right. We're not going to talk negative, all right? So, but in Africa, only 10 to 20% of the people that die of heart problems. In Central America, we got 20 to 30% of the people that die annually die of heart attacks, heart disease. In where we got Asia, we've got 25 to 35%, 34%. So it's getting what? Higher and higher as you get what? Closer and closer to what? America. Huh? You got so-called backward companies, then you got us educated, cultivated, okay? Oh, man, come on now. Look here, South America, 30 to 40%. Middle East, 39 to 47%. Western Europe, United States, Australia, all of those well-cultivated countries, you're looking at what? 42 to 48%. And in Eastern Europe, you're way up there in almost 62%. So do y'all see what's happening? Over here, they're not rich and they're not wealthy. Over here, they're rich, they're wealthy, got it going on. Actually, America is the America is the largest, the wealthiest, the most scientific, the most medically advanced country in the world. But we're also the sickest. So little boy said, well, what's up with that? Okay, what's up with that? Wow, wow, wow. So we just wanted to see what's going on with cardiovascular deaths. Now, what does the screen say? Now, this is the Heart Society, the Heart Association. These are all of the folks that basically talk to you about your health. Cleveland Clinic, WHO, which is the World Health Organization, they all come together and agree that what? 9 out of 10 heart attacks are what? Oh, y'all, say it again. Preventable. What does preventable mean? It doesn't have to happen. Oh, no, but you see, my grandmama had high blood pressure, and she had a heart attack, and my great-uncle had one, and my great-great-grandfather had it too, and so my mama and my uncle, all of them had it, Aunt Janie and Uncle Bobo, they all had it, so I have no choice. We already said that health was a what? It's a choice, not a chance. All right. I talk for a living, folks. I'll sometimes do as many as 6 or 7 Zoom calls a day. And I'm going to be here with you all twice a day every Wednesday. So I talk for a living. So I might, if at all possible, get another one of these to kind of back it up a little bit. If someone would, another water or two would be helpful. So, bottom line, let's look at the big 3. These are the causative factors of heart disease and heart problems. Smoking is number 1. Number 2 is what? High blood pressure. What is basically the cause of high blood pressure? Too much what? Salt, and what else? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. How about cholesterol? Because what happens to the arteries is that they close up. And something has to cause them to, something gets stuck in there, and instead of the hole being that big, the hole gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it closes off. No blood getting to the brain, and we got problems, right? So cholesterol. So high blood pressure is basically caused because of what? Too much cholesterol. Where does cholesterol come from? Fat. The fat of what? What food? Come on, y'all. Y'all scared to say it? Meat. Animals. Cholesterol is only found in the flesh of animals. There's no cholesterol found in tomatoes and spinach and so forth. Y'all got to get that. So high blood pressure is because of bad eating. High cholesterol is bad eating. So 2 out of 3 of the causative factors have to do with what? Eating. Do y'all see that? D-E-A-T-H. What does that spell? Death. Take off the D on the front, take the H off the back, and what is it? Eat. 3/5 of death is eat. That makes sense? That's good stuff to just know that you're eating yourselves to death. You're killing yourselves and digging your grave with a knife and a fork. And see, y'all are laughing. That's good because you get all snotty. Well, I got to have me some sausage and some beef. I got to. Where's the beef? Matter of fact, one of our presentations to you is going to be, where's the beef? Y'all going to really like that one when we talk about how we got to this stage of eating the way we eat today. But now we just want to look and see that two-thirds of the problems for our having cardiovascular problems have to do with bad eating. We'll look at our next slide here.
Heart attacks, certain cancers, osteoporosis, diabetes. The major diseases of our society may be caused in part by what we eat. One of the physicians who helped me to understand why is Dr. Michael Clapper.
I first woke up, so to speak, when I was working on the anesthesia service, learning how to put people to sleep. And I was seeing my patients for the next day's surgery for coronary artery bypass surgery in order to bypass clogged arteries in their heart. Because it was late at night, I drew the man's blood test, and when I took the blood to the laboratory and had it processed, I couldn't believe my eyes. Now, normally, this liquid layer floating on top of the blood clot is quite transparent. It's a yellow, but quite clear. You can see right through it. The blood in this patient's tube, however, was anything but clear. The serum floating on his clot was thick and greasy white. It looked like glue. In fact, it stuck to the sides of the blood tube when I shook the tube. I went back to the patient. I said, Mr. Phillips, did you eat before you came to the hospital tonight? He said, yes. I said, what did you have? He said, I had a cheeseburger and a milkshake. And when he said that, I realized that what I was looking at in his tube was all the fat in the beef burger, all the butter fat in the cheese, and the butter fat in the ice cream and in the milkshake. And all this fat had oozed out into his blood and actually turned his blood fatty. Well, 30, 40, 50 years of keeping your blood very fatty creates changes in the blood vessels that are very dangerous.
Over the years, arteries can become clogged with fatty material. Then a blood clot can form, blocking the blood flow completely. If the artery leads to the heart, the lack of oxygen can cause heart muscle to die. That's a heart attack. If the clogged artery leads to the brain, the patient has a stroke.
The next morning, we took Mr. Phillips to the operating room, and I put him to sleep, and the surgeon opened up his chest. And from these arteries, he began pulling out yellow, greasy deposits of fatty material called atherosclerosis.
You know, if you were to die of a heart attack, and it's the most common cause of death in the country today, you might have an autopsy performed. It's a fairly common procedure. It used to be more common, but it's still done many, many times. What would happen is your body would be laid out on the autopsy table. And they would cut open your chest and dig around in there and find the coronary artery, the artery feeding the heart, that had gotten plugged up, depriving the heart of its flow of oxygen and blood, killing it, killing you. And they'd find that artery and they'd ream it out. They'd literally pull out a thick sausage-shaped piece of fatty, waxy material that killed you. And they send it very carefully down to the pathology lab. Next day, the results come back, and they always say the same thing. This has been done approximately 3 million times in medical research in the world. And the results always say the same thing. They say, in effect, saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, never once have they come back and said broccoli and tofu.
Okay. If we look up here, we'll see the foods like milk, cheese, chicken, fish, sausage, eggs, beef are loaded with what? Cholesterol. But if you look at the vegetables and the fruits and the nuts and the seeds, how much cholesterol do they have? So are you beginning to see where the problem is coming from? We don't want to admit it because we got a love affair with meat. We just love us some meat. Like the little lady said at Wendy's, she looked on there and said, where's the beef? Ain't enough meat in here. But I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you how we got to this point where we eat the way we do. That'll be next week. And that'll be called, Where's the Beef? All right? But we see here that cholesterol is our problem, folks. Cholesterol is the problem. And the foods that have no cholesterol are the foods that God gave in the beginning. Fruit, nuts, grains, and vegetables. Remember, I showed you that the vegetables, man didn't have to eat them at first. He was eating fruit, nuts, grains. He was reaching up in the air, reaching up towards God. The fruit grew way up in the air. He didn't plant it. And when he reached up, who was he reaching towards? God. The animals ate around his feet. They ate in the ground. They ate the beans and the peas and the green, all that stuff on the ground, okay? So we didn't have to bend over in the beginning to get our food, right? But after sin, what happened? God said, cursed is Genesis 3:17-18, cursed is the ground for thy sake. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So the next command was to eat vegetables. You got to bend over, you got to work, you got your fingernails dirty, you got to sweat, but that was still okay. Because like we said, our forefathers, Methuselah lived to be 969, Noah was 950, and Adam was 930, so they lived to be almost 1,000. But then something else happened. And we'll talk about that more on another day. But they began to eat animal product, and what happened was their longevity started coming down. So bottom line is we see here, cholesterol is our big problem. Now, again, that's high cholesterol, that's no cholesterol. So now, our next hit man, our first hit man was cardiovascular disease, okay, or coronary artery disease, or heart disease, however you want to call it, same thing, heart blows up, okay? High blood pressure is another form of heart disease that is the most prevalent. It's the one that takes out most people. Okay, next slide. Here it said, now this is an old PowerPoint. It's about 10 years old, but it was a good one, okay? I've used it for a long time. And it says 600 million people worldwide. Right about now, that's 700 and, oh, I'm sorry, it's 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion die worldwide with high blood pressure, hypertension. And then it says 3 million die yearly. That's 7.3 million now today. Are y'all getting this? This is some serious stuff called high blood pressure or hypertension. It's a deadly killer. It's a silent killer. So let's look at it. Every third adult has hypertension. So I think I did this with, well, I don't know if I did it with you guys, but let's just say I've got 1, 2, 3. You 3 ladies right there, okay? Now, we're all being honest. Raise your hand if you have high blood pressure, slightly high. 2 out of 3, okay? And she got a hand up too, okay? See, I'm in front of them, but I got it too. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that no longer is it even every third, 1 out of 3. Now it's almost 2 out of 3. Borderline, slight, you know, I got a little bit of high blood. Ain't mine under control. It's all right. I'm going to show you something. Now, causes of hypertension. Let's look at this. Obesity, overweight. Listen to me. For every 1 pound that you are overweight, your body has to make an extra 3/4 of a mile of blood vessels. Did you hear what I said? Because if we built a new subdivision over here, do we have to put some more pipes in the ground? We got to take some more water to it, some more electricity. We got to have some sewage to come out. Because the more houses you build, the more pipes you got to have. So if you get bigger, then you need more what? Pipes. But how many hearts do you get? Same heart now has to pump blood to 3 times the vicinity. Am I making any sense? So you wonder why you're laughing and thinking it's no big deal. Well, I'm taking my meds. I'm good. I'm cool. No. People take their meds, go home and have a heart attack or a stroke every day. So that doesn't make you safe, because what caused it was what in most cases? Meat. Well, what was it in the meat? Cholesterol. So that atherosclerotic plaque, that cholesterol, that greasy, gluey stuff that he showed you, and you saw how he pulled it out of the man's artery, that artery was full of that sausage-like, yellow, waxy cholesterol, grease, fat. And it combined with calcium, and just those arteries got jacked up, the bones get jacked up, everything gets, stomach, everything gets jacked up, folks. So obesity caused by too much cholesterol, so that has to do with eating, right? High salt intake. What do we put salt on? Everything, especially meat, okay? So bottom line, number 2 has to do with what? Eating. Smoking, alcohol, and caffeine, plugged arteries. How do arteries get plugged? Eating, mainly cholesterol. So we see here that out of these 7 things, 3 of them, almost half of them, have to do with eating. I'm just trying to get you to see, oh, it's okay, you can eat anything you want to eat, as long as you do what? I prayed. Dear God, bless these doo-doo shoots. That's chitlins. All right, folks. So next slide. I want us to be able to laugh, because if you can't laugh at yourself, you'll never change. If you got that rigid, I got to have me some meat. I've seen them. I've seen people fighting over the last piece of chicken in the basket. I saw a brother kill his brother at a picnic over that last piece of chicken that mama cooked. You ain't listening to me. Way back then, I didn't think, that was 50-something years ago, 60 years ago. I never thought about it until later, the importance of it. When 45 years ago, I changed the way I ate when I saw my father die of a stroke. My father died of a stroke that was so horrible that his brains almost jumped out of his head. I was in med school. I wasn't in med school yet. I was on my 4th year of pre-med because I wanted to be a doctor, right? He is in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm in North Carolina, and I get a call. Frank is dead. That's my dad. I'm Frank Jr. And so I catch a plane out of Charlotte, and within 2.5 hours, I'm on a plane to Cleveland, which is where he was. When I got there, his best friend Brunson met me. He said, I'm sorry, Butch. That's my name, Butch. Frank didn't make it. He's dead. Now, he was in Cleveland, Ohio, at Cleveland Clinic. Anybody know about Cleveland Clinic? The largest cardiovascular institution in the world. More heart doctors are there than anywhere else in the world. And they couldn't save my father. He was 52. I was 22, and I decided I didn't want to be a doctor. If they can't save my dad, I don't want to be a doctor. I dropped out. Several years later, I realized something. I was eating the same barbecue that he was eating that night when he died. I was drinking the same scotch that he was drinking that night when he died, smoking the same cigarettes that he was drinking that night when he died. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? I said, so if I'm 22, I won't make it to 32. So at 30, I changed everything. Are you listening to me? At 30. And I'm 74. I'll be 75 this year. And I've been broken up, busted up. Bones been, this leg was taken out. Did I tell y'all that? This leg was, I was going to sleep. I went to sleep going down in the Delta to plant trees after doing I did a health revival for the Church of God in Christ headquarters. Used to be down on Main Street. Y'all remember that? And I had just done that health revival, and I left going down in the Delta, Mississippi. I went to sleep at Grenada, and Grenada Lake. I went to sleep, went up, hit that embankment, knocked the whole right side of the little 2-seater car I was in off. The car was no longer than from here to there, 2-seater. Took the whole right side off, took this leg into the back seat. It took him an hour and a half to cut my leg out of the car. It was all twisted up in the metal, right? And I shouldn't be able to walk. I shouldn't be able to walk. That was in 1993. What I'm saying is, no magic. It's just that the body is designed to heal itself if you give it what it needs. So I said, well, Lord, I'm tired. I've been doing this for 18, 19 years. Am I in the right field trying to help people see that they can get well now? He said, look what just happened to you. I said, what? He said, your leg was standing up straight in traction, and the doctor came in, and he said, Mr. Taylor, you're the luckiest man in the world. You're down in Mississippi, right? I said, what you mean, Doc? He said, look here. You know how they used to have your x-ray up on the screen on the wall? He said, look at this here. Your leg was supposed to break in 8 and 9 places. Dang thing didn't break at all. He said, you're a lucky man. I said, no, I'm blessed. Because Ezekiel 4:11 told me to do what? Come on now. Huh? So I saw my kneecap was way around here. It took it about 5 weeks to do what? Straighten out. But the bones didn't break because the bones were what? Elastic, like rubber bands, because I was drinking enough what? Water. I was drinking almost 1.5 gallons of water a day. Are y'all getting what I'm saying? Case point is proven. You need more water. So we're getting on. Next slide. So, back one. Okay. Is elevated blood pressure of much significance? Because I hear people all the time say, well, Dr. Franco, mine is just slightly elevated. Just a little bit. I basically have it under control with my meds. What does that say? Slight elevation could do what? 8 times the risk of stroke, 3 times the risk of a heart attack, and 5 times the risk of what? Just flat out heart failure. Just, boom, was out of here. Just slightly elevated. So don't fool yourself. And don't think that the drugs got you. They do. And they're going to get you. And I'm going to throw a quick commercial in here. The animals that we kill and eat, they reach back from the grave. Get y'all. Y'all kill them, but they get you back. It just takes a little, oh, y'all with me? I want us to keep smiling, keep laughing about this thing. All right. So, next one. So again, these are diseases or symptoms that come from high blood pressure, hypertension. That pressure puts so much pressure on your eyes that the teeny little capillaries behind your eyes that keep it fed with blood so that your vision stays straight and it doesn't askew on you, okay? They get clogged up too. When they get clogged up, we have what? Macular degeneration. We start having early blindness. Y'all hearing me? We try to make it simple so that you see there's no, you go to the doctor, they make the thing so difficult, you'll never understand what's going on. You should be able to understand it. It's not that difficult. So most of the blindness situations basically are based on what? Eating and hypertension, high blood pressure. How about kidney failure? Folks on dialysis, a lot of it has to do with what? High blood pressure. Pancreas, pancreas going out of whack, sugar level, A1C out the roof. Basically, we're looking at what? High blood pressure, which is caused by cholesterol. Y'all getting it now. I like it. Y'all saying it now. Y'all wouldn't say it at first. All right. Let's go to our next. So again, hypertension, high blood pressure, basically a silent killer because you don't know. Most people that die from it don't even know, in some cases, that they've got high blood. They just think it's just slight, okay, until it takes them out. Okay, our next one. So again, high cholesterol will be found where? Animal products. I eat white meat. I eat chicken and fish. There's just as much cholesterol in chicken and fish as there is in beef and pork. The milligrams of cholesterol are so minuscule in difference that it doesn't matter. Are y'all listening to me? They'll tell you anything. You're talking about the Food and Drug Administration. So they're getting you with the food and the drug. You got to have a no good food to take your drugs with. If you listen to me. If you drive around the corner and look up on the Kroger wall, it'll say what? Food and drugs. And you go around the next corner and there's a Walgreens. What does it say? Drugs and food. If your drugstore can sell you your food and the food store is selling your drug, you in trouble. Does it make any sense? Taking you round and around that downward spiral. Boom, you're out of here. Okay. So high cholesterol, no cholesterol. The fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains have no cholesterol. That is the silent killer. Okay, next slide. Osteoporosis, protecting your bones. Next. Women usually suffer with this more because women have children, and the children suck up a lot of their calcium through the years, okay? Especially in the beginning when they're suppling them, giving them the milk, all right? But bottom line, 1 out of 3 women over 50 has osteoporosis. Now it's 2 out of 3 women. Okay, next.
I wanted to learn everything I could, so I started researching and going to medical libraries. I was amazed by what I learned. Osteoporosis is a disease that worries a great many women today. In later years, the bones can become thin and fragile, and they can break quite easily.
You know, the bones look very thin here.
When I was told that I had osteoporosis, I became very frightened because I'm still young. And I literally just fell apart. I remember going to bed and crying, and my husband came in and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm disintegrating."
Osteoporosis is a loss of bone tissue. And as a result, when somebody gets osteoporosis, they've essentially lost 50 to 75% of their bone tissue before they get a fracture. And then what happens is they cough or sneeze and they break a rib, or they ride over a bumpy road and they break a backbone. When you look around the world and you see where osteoporosis is common and rare, you're struck by the fact that it's common where people seem to eat the best. In the sense when you consume lots of dairy products, like in countries such as the United States, England, Finland, Sweden, you have the highest rates of osteoporosis. Where they consume the least dairy products, like in your Asian and African countries, they have the strongest bones, the least osteoporosis.
Again, that could be a coincidence, but some don't think it is.
And one of the characteristics in osteoporosis that I think at least is rather important has to do with the intake of animal protein. Animal protein, for example, has been shown to increase the loss of calcium from the body, which of course puts a person at a greater risk.
Dairy products contain calcium, which helps to build strong bones. But they also contain concentrated protein, and some suspect that depletes the body of calcium. Dr. Clapper explained the theory.
When one eats a piece of concentrated protein, for the next 3 or 4 hours, more calcium than usual can be lost out of the body through the urine. And when the body loses this mineral, it replaces it by drawing calcium out of the bones. So a high-protein diet, along with smoking and lack of exercise and other factors, may contribute to bones that are thin and fracture easily.
Osteoporosis tends to be a disease characteristic of Western countries, which is really quite interesting because it turns out that in this country, if we listen to the traditional information, it is suggested that the higher the calcium intake, the lower the risk for osteoporosis in women. And so women are being advised to take more calcium. But it's rather strange that in China, where calcium intake is so much lower than here, they actually have lower osteoporosis, not higher.
I wanted to learn everything I could.
Okay, so osteoporosis, milk, cheese, dairy, animal products, protein, when the body has to try to break it all down with all that cholesterol and all the poisons, all the growth hormones, all the antibiotics, the body just goes crazy. And what happens is the bones just lose their calcium is sent, and moisture and all that is sent to other parts of the body because the body's just going crazy trying to break down all that stuff. So again, tobacco, alcohol, caffeine, physical inactivity, excess protein. There we go again. Too much meat. And they tell us to have a high protein diet, low carbohydrate. But what does your body burn for energy? Carbohydrates, fats, and sugars. Just not Krispy Kreme, okay, sugars, and not Colonel Sanders fats, okay? But the bottom line is those are your calcium robbers. Next. These are other calcium, tobacco, caffeine, physical inactivity, excess protein, too much phosphorus. Phosphorus is found in sodas like Coca-Cola and in meat as a preservative. So again, 2 of the 5 have to do with bad eating. Next. Calcium robbers also will add too much phosphorus, too much salt. Salt has to do with what? Eating. So 3 out of 6 have to do with eating. I hope you're seeing this. Next. Kale. Kale, wonderful. Do you all know what vegetables or what foods on the planet have the most calcium? Your green leafy vegetables. That's why God gave them to man after sin. After sin, man had perfect blood in the beginning. But after sin, he had lost it, and his blood wasn't pure anymore. He was going to die. And so God gave him the vegetables, because a vegetable has what in the middle of it? Chlorophyll that makes it green. What makes the blood green? I threw you on that. What makes it? The iron, the nutritional iron that we put into it. So bottom line, you got blood and you got the magnesium that's in the chlorophyll. So the molecular structure is identical. They look the same scientifically. So since our blood was poor, God gave us the green vegetables as a what? A blood transfusion. We talked about that last time. But bottom line, it helped to make us better. So if somebody's in the hospital sick, you don't take them a steak, but you can take them some watermelon or some grapes or some sliced cucumber, something nice and cool and easy to eat. Okay. So kale has lots and lots and lots of calcium. Next. And soybean, the thing that they tell you not to eat, is not only not giving you cancer, but it's helping to do what? Reduce cancer in women, breast, metastatic, triple negative, all these different kind of cancer. Soybean, soy milk, soy bread, soybean curry. You heard him talk about tofu? See, you never heard anybody say that they got heart attack because eating too much tofu and broccoli. All right, next. We're almost done, folks. Almonds, filberts, flax seeds, sesame. Your main nuts and seeds are loaded with what? Calcium. Usable calcium that's not going to jack your body up. Next. Building your bone bank. You need to do exercise. What kind? Weight bearing. And what kind was the best weight bearing? Walking, good brisk walking, bearing your own weight. Okay, everybody can't lift too many weights. That's good, but walking is the best, okay? Absolutely, and you can take little small weights while you're walking. Reduce protein intake, avoid the calcium robbers that we talked about. Get more what? Sunshine. Eat calcium-rich plant-based foods. There they are. Which ones have high cholesterol? Which ones have basically no cholesterol? Okay, next. Disarming what? Diabetes. Now, I call it die or beat us. Okay? You die or beat, either die or it beats us. Okay? But anyway, bottom line, what causes sugar diabetes? Too much what? No, it doesn't. I fooled you. I'm sorry. I got you all that time. No. Most people that have high blood pressure in a year or two will end up with what? Diabetes. Most people with diabetes in a couple of years will end up with what? High blood pressure, because they're caused by the same thing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When sugar goes into your body, your brain tells your pancreas, send me some sugar send me some insulin to the spot. And the insulin goes to where it's going to go to break down that sugar, and there's something there called insulin receptors in your body. And they receive the insulin, okay? But when the insulin tries to get in there, it can't because something's got it blocked up. What is it? Cholesterol. Thank you, brother. Oh, y'all getting this? It's something, boy, when you see the truth. Is this making any sense? This is rich information. Nobody else going to tell you this. Am I making any sense? Sarah with the black shirt on, am I making sense? My goodness gracious, y'all. It ain't that difficult. It's really, really simple. So, explosion of new cases doubled within 25 years. 300 million, it's 725 million today. Is that something or is that something? Diabetes. And all of it is caused because of too much what? Cholesterol. That seems like a pretty simple fix to me. Just, if you go in the wrong way in the alley and there's a dead end, what do? Put the car in what? Reverse. And you go right back past all that you did and come out of there and then go in another direction. Okay. Complications from diabetes, eye problems, kidney damage, heart disease, and stroke. Same. There's no accident. Health is a choice. It's not a chance. Stop being a victim and believing the system when it tells you. They'll ask you, well, let's see, we're trying to see where this came from. Does anyone in your family have a heart attack? Your mom? No, she didn't have a problem. Your father? No. But my granddad, that's where it came from. Got you. That's it. Do you know that there's something that's called an NCD, non-communicable disease. That means you can't get it from somebody else. Guess what the top NCDs are? High blood pressure, diabetes. Oh, come on, folks. Oh, my goodness. They're not transmittable, but you think so. Let me see. I probably did this the other day. What's your name, sir? Your name? Davis. Davis, how are you, sir? You 87? I said, how are you? But how old is pretty good. Boy, you're 87. You're looking real good for 87, doctor. Jumping up and all that. Davis, you're a good-looking man. You've got a very pronounced nose. Look like it's got some African and some Indian, all that good stuff in there. Where did you get that nose from, mom or dad? Who is it more like? Like your dad. When did you get it, Davis? When you were born, right? Yeah, but when do we get high blood pressure and diabetes and all that stuff? In our 40s and 50s. Well, nowadays children are getting it in before even 13, high blood, obesity, and diabetes, all of that. But basically, that's called hereditary. You got it when you were born. But this stuff that we get at 40 and 50, because the body is finally worn down, that is not hereditary, folks. Eye problems, kidney damage, heart disease, stroke, on a dialysis machine forever. Folks, y'all come see me, have a consultation. I've helped about 40 people to come off of dialysis machines. How many did I say? 40. Did I say I took them off? I did what? Help them to come off by giving them the information and the motivation and the understanding of how to get the body to clear itself. It's not that difficult, folks. All right, so we're almost done. Sexual impotence because of this disease. Ulcerative sores all up and down the legs and so forth. Infections, amputations. Most amputations are because of what? Diabetes, breast and uterine cancers. All right. So we need to exercise regularly and eat a what? A low-fat diet. Okay, next. Low-fat, plant-based diet. Okay. Again, high cholesterol, no cholesterol. There's some more things I could put on there, but I won't. We're going to stop right there. And I just wanted you all to see something. I wanted you to get it straight in your head that health is not an accident. Okay? It's a what? Choice. And you can choose today to start getting better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up for questions. I don't know if we have a mic that we could get, but I'll try to, a couple of questions. I'll answer the question back. If somebody, questions, anybody? Anybody? Questions that you haven't gotten answered in the past? Yes, you and then you. What fish do you recommend? Well, normally I tell people that for 30 days when they come to see me, it's a 90-day plan, but for the first 30 days, I tell them to eat nothing that had eyes or that was born or that had a mama. And guess what? Some folks say, well, what about tilapia? I wouldn't suggest anything dead because the amount of cholesterol in chicken and fish is the same as in pork and beef. So I wouldn't suggest anything dead. If we're seeing, I didn't say this. This is the World Health Organization. This is the Cancer Society, the Heart Foundation. They're telling you that if you eat a plant-based diet, you can live. They're finally telling you. They hadn't told you for 50 years or so because, okay. You got to send folks to college and stuff, you know. You got to buy Maseratis. They can't do that if you don't come back. Okay, question. But does that, I wasn't trying to be funny. I want us to laugh, but I suggest nothing dead if you want to have life. If you're eating dead, let's do this. Let's do this again. Over here we got animal foods, right? We got, you ain't eating no live chicken, so we know they dead. That's dead. Macaroni, cheese, scrambled eggs, dead. Now, but if you cook a vegetable, is it live or is it dead? It's dead. So all this is dead. It tastes good, but it's dead, right? You cooked all the what? Nutrition, all the life out of it. Over here you got green leaf lettuce, cucumbers, bell peppers, tomatoes. You got broccoli and cauliflower cut up, put in a salad. Apples, peaches, pears, plums, bananas, grapes, raisins, mangoes, papayas, blueberries, all that. 2 plates of food. Which side has enzymes that's going to make your body digest the meal? The live side. Which side has minerals that's going to build your muscles, joints, ligaments, and tendons? The live side. Which side has vitamins, life, that's going to build your immune system? The live side. Which side has fiber that's going to make your bowels move like most people's don't move? The live side. Which side do people eat the most of? How are you going to have good life eating what? Dead food. How are you going to have energy eating dead food? How are you going to have a good balanced mind and nerves if you're eating mainly dead food? How will your body heal itself eating mainly? Am I making sense? Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you all for asking questions. I want us to laugh, but I want us to get this. Let's see. I think you were next, and then I'll go over here.
Well, I guess you kind of answered it, but not everybody is going to be vegan.
Oh, no.
Is there a way to be healthy and still have some portions of meat?
Is there any way to be healthy and still have some portions of meat? Here's the deal. We eat breakfast. We should have, say, whole grain grits, whole grain pancakes, whole grain biscuits, whole grain, whatever, 2 to 3 pieces of fruit and some nuts and so forth. But a lot of us go to Mickey D's, Captain D's, Wendy's, one of these, some of these, all of these. And in some cases, it needs to be none of these. But listen to me. That's fine, but over here, have a nice big salad and slaw, because the salad and slaw is still what? Live. So the key is, I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat meat. Don't leave here and go said, Dr. Franco said that. What I'm saying is, if this is dead, I just want you to know the truth. It is dead, isn't it? Y'all need no live squirrels. Okay. You aren't, are you? Okay, so this is dead. All I'm saying is, if you want to have life, you got to eat more what? Live food. So this plate should be bigger than this. Every meal that you eat should have something live to go with it. If you're eating snacks, popcorn, nuts, or whatever, you should have a little bowl of grapes or some sliced cucumber, carrot, something live to go with this. Because if you're just putting dead in, what are you going to get out of it? Nothing from nothing leaves. Come on, put something in. Am I making sense? So the question is, 60 to 70%, the answer to the question is 60 to 70% of your meal intake every day should be live. Do that and have a ball. Do what you want to do. I'm not saying that's best, but it's better. It's much better. Yes. Any other question? Another question? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I promised her. Yeah. Everything you eat is processed. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them that threw that at you. See, bottom line, if a kernel of wheat is a kernel of wheat, when you get whole grain flour, it's been processed. And when you eat it, you process it. So, all that's just rhetoric. God, yeah, I've been what they call vegan. I've been strict vegetarian for 45 years. That was 1980 when that happened. 1993 when that happened. That was 45 years ago. But yeah, bottom line, you don't need no dead. But if you're gonna eat some dead, get them live. Key. Ma'am, I make it. As a matter of fact, next week, when we talk about where's the what, I'm going to serve you up some move-over meat. Yeah, our family has a patent on what's called move-over meat. It's defatted soy flour, and then it's dry. Y'all seen it on the table, right? Some of you have seen it on the table. I'll have some on the table for you to look at. But you just simmer it. It can sit on the shelf dry for years. And then you can take it and put it in water, simmer it with the seasoned packet, and it'll taste like beef or chicken. It'll chew up and have the texture of beef or chicken. So yeah, I make soy sage. Sausage is just sausage with some sage and thyme. So it's just knowing how to season. And I talk with Pastor, I talk with Bishop Brown. I call him Bishop Brown. And but basically, during the summer, we may have a cooking school. And we'll do everything from breakfast to lunch to supper, caramel cake without sugar, delicious ice. I mean, we'll show you how to do this. I like to eat. Man, I eat some pancakes and some My kind of egg, okay? Some sausage, some bacon, yes. Chicken. I like to eat, folks. Pizza. We've had restaurants for years. We were in the mall last, Hickory Ridge Mall. We were there for 8 years, and we had what's called Franco's Fine Foods. And we had hot tamales. You like hot tamales? Woo, italante, bajo lo mismo. I mean, so good, make you bite your finger. Take another bite, you bite your finger again. But yes, I love to eat, and yes, I'm plant-based everything. Most of what my wife and I, what goes into our family, we make it ourselves. But there are times like she and I are on our way out of town tonight. We're on the way to North Carolina. She wrote the book, Introduction to African American Language. She authored that book several years ago. And we're going there. She's a speech-language pathologist. And we're going up there to talk about dissertations on it. But I'll have to eat what I find, okay? So I may end up eating a salad and some potatoes and green beans or whatever at one of these dinners. But I can also walk over and talk to the chef and talk to him a little bit, tell him I heard that he was the best in the West. And slap him a little 20 in, you know, and say, look, I'm vegan. My wife and I are vegan. We're sitting right over that table there. Anything you got vegetable-wise, bring it to us. If you got something from the previous meal, bring it on. And we'll be sitting there at the table, and everybody had a little wrapped steak, little round steak with the bacon and the toothpick in it and them little ugly green beans and that cardboard box mashed potatoes with a little gravy in it, you know what I'm saying? And they'll start bringing our stuff out and putting it in front of us. I said, did the king of India come in on us or something? What's going on, you know? So all I'm saying to you is you can eat anytime. Folks, I think I've gone over today. I enjoy y'all so much. Let's see. Was there one other hand over here? Right there. I answered it. Osteoporosis is basically you're talking same. You're talking about 6 on one hand, half on the other. The question is osteoporosis, but what about arthritis? All of it is caused by the calcium. You have a protein in your body called osteocalcin. And when you're eating all these animal products, it'll cause the calcium to come out, mix with this protein, and it becomes atherosclerotic plaque in the arteries, the veins, and in the joints. So, same thing. It's the same thing. It's like in a war. You got India fighting Jerusalem or whatever, and they're shooting bullets up in the air. People on both sides are getting hit. But they're all getting hit in the same place? No, but it's the same what? Bullets. We just said we're talking about the secret weapon of the deadly hitmen. All of these hitmen, cancer, diabetes, heart problems, what is their weapon? Cholesterol. So arthritis, same thing. Rheumatoid arthritis, same thing. We eat too much meat. Back down is all I'm saying. There was one other one, and I'll get out to the table and answer some questions. They're still animals. And based on the Bible, they're an abomination. God says don't eat them. If it doesn't have fish and scales, don't eat it. They just have scales. They're the garbage disposals of the sea. Shrimp, catfish, crabs, all of those they can't get rid of their poison. They have a little vein down the back. So all the poison is where? In the meat itself. That's what makes it taste so good. Yeah, that's why it tastes so good. Yeah. Blood and fat and all that and all those poisons and toxins is what makes it taste so good. Yes. Yeah, I'll speak on organic versus the other another time. But yeah, I'll do that. Just remind me one of the next meetings. Folks, plum, please, and pleasure. Please come back. Go bring somebody with you. We're just getting started. Just getting started. I'll be at the back table. Anybody wants products, have questions, want to sign my sheet so that you can literally get yourself a consultation, I'll be at the back table. Thank you all so much. God bless you.